Okay. So these are going to be the last two cycles, or, well, cash is included in both the revenue cycle and the expenditure cycle, but the expenditure cycle will be the last business process we talk about in terms of the audit approach. And certainly when we talk about the expenditure cycle, we'll cover the concepts that we talked about in the revenue cycle, except that we will be viewing it from the perspective of the expenditure cycle. But I want to start out with talking about auditing cash. And so obviously cash is going to be a significant account in both the revenue cycle and in the expenditure cycle. Right? So when we talk about cash, the audit of cash, we're going to look at where the sources of cash. So how is cash generated? And obviously cash can be generated from the revenue cycle, right? Because you're selling goods to customers and hopefully you're collecting on those goods. But also, we're not going to cover this cycle, but cash is generated from the financing cycle, right? How is it generated through the financing cycle? Yes, John. Right, you sell stock. What else? Bonds. Company can sell bonds. Right? So there are a number of ways that you can generate cash, but we're going to focus on it from the perspective of the revenue cycle. Also, you can sell it through, generate cash if you sell property, plant, and equipment, and as you pointed out, issuing stock or long-term debt. And then we'll talk about today also the disbursement of cash. So how's cash utilized? And so we're again going to focus mostly on the purchasing cycle, right? Or the purchasing process, where you're either purchasing inventory or you're purchasing property, plant, and equipment. But also cash is dispersed through the payroll, right? You have to pay your employees, and we're not going to cover the payroll cycle. And again, through long-term debt and stockholders' equity, right? Long-term debt in the sense of paying interest on debt, on money that you borrow, and the equity section through dividends, a return to investors on their investment. So what you'll see basically is cash